Hello everyone. So I wanted to do a quick review on assignment one. There seemed to have been a little bit of confusion on what needed to be accomplished in the code. So I thought that the details in the instruction were pretty clear, but apparently not. I'll have to clean those up in the future and make sure that I do the same thing on upcoming assignments. But first and foremost, as we've covered in our software development lifecycle, I've stressed that the analysis phase of that sequence is very, very important, and it's important that you first identify what the problem is and identify what the sub-problems are going to be to accomplish or to solve that primary problem. So, and then once we get those steps, then we can start working on our algorithm, which is going to be our pseudocode, the step between the analysis and actually writing the code in C++. So this is the code that I've written for assignment one. And again, there's always more than one way to skin the cat, and this is just the way that Tony Baird has chosen to do it. So you guys can take a look at this and compare this to your code. And there were other methods of solving that problem that were certainly legitimate. One very important point was that this code was supposed to calculate the area for four rooms, up to four rooms. So if your code only calculated the area for one room, then obviously you needed some more variables and some more lines of calculation in that code. So let's take a look at what's going on here. Of course, every program begins with the main module and ends with the end module. So I've declared several variables here, and all of these are floats. And the reason I've done that is that it's not very often that rooms are precisely a certain number of feet. It's 12 feet 8 inches or 13 feet 2 inches or something like that. So I used float data types on these variables. So notice that I've got two variables for each room, for the length and the width, and then I've got a float variable to hold the area for each room, and then I've got finally a float variable to hold the total area for the entire house. So at that point, I call the input data module, and we go down here to input data module, and as I've stressed, it's very important that we give very precise information to the user and make sure that we give them information and have an input statement for one variable. Provide them instruction and then follow that by an input statement with one variable. You can't have a statement that says enter the length and the width of room 1 and then have an input statement that says input room 1 length, room 1 width. It just doesn't work that way. You have to be very precise. The computer is a very dumb machine, and you have to tell it precisely what to do. And typically that's also the case with the user. The user is running a program to solve a particular problem that hopefully we have written a code to accomplish, and that means that the user shouldn't have to do any calculations on their own. We're doing all the calculations for them, and we'll see that here in just a second. So we have a series of write statements followed by input statements to get the lengths and the widths of each room, of all four rooms, and then it goes back up to the main module, back up here to the program stack, and then it goes to the next line and it calls the perform calculations module. So we go down to this location and it will set the area of each room, which are variables that I declared up here. The area of each room is the length times the width for each room, and then once we have all four of those areas for all four rooms, we can set the total area to the sum of all four of those room areas. And then once again, we return to the program stack, go to the next line, call output results, and this will come down here to the output results module, and it's going to write room 1 is, and now notice the format here. The text that you are outputting to the display is going to be in double quotes, and I've got a space in here to make sure that that text is separated from the value of that variable. So the text is enclosed in quotes, and then there's a space, a plus sign, a space, and then the variable name, and then another space, plus sign, space, and then an open quotes, and then it has square feet. So that will print out room 1 is whatever the contents of that area room 1 variable is, whatever's in that memory location is going to be displayed, and then it's going to then display space square feet, and it's going to do that for all 4 rooms. And then the last line is going to say the total area of the house is whatever the total area, the value of total area variable is, going to display that in the square feet. So again, that's how I solved my problem. Now make sure that when you're working on these assignments that you read through the entire instruction before you start working on the assignment, and probably more importantly is don't wait until Sunday afternoon to start working on the assignment, because if you start running into problems and have difficulty and don't understand a concept, Sunday afternoon is the wrong time to have those problems. So hopefully that helps with some of these concepts. If you have any questions about any of that, please let me know.